Welcome to day 4 of the WFDF World Ultimate and Guts Championships wrap-up show. Daily Digest with me, Tom Stiles. And we thought before we get into the action, we'd show you a little bit more of the tournament background, and particularly the medical tent. And we've got with me here Georgie Davin, who's the medical boss. Are you the boss, Georgie? Coordinator. And we've also got Steve Reese, who's in charge of the ambulance and response services. Hi, Steve.
Morning, how are you? Afternoon, actually. It's the end of the day now, isn't it? It's a long day.
So, just tell us a little bit, Steve, first about the ambulances you've got here and when you guys get involved.
Okay, so we get called from all the pitches whenever a player goes down. We dispatch a buggy in the first instance to see what the patient's condition is, and then from there we can extract the patient to here. From here we can assess them in the minor injury centre, and then go in the big ambulances to a hospital if needed.
So you're actually bringing most of the patients, if you bring them anywhere, you bring them here?
Yeah. All patients come back here because we've got all physios and all the nurses, doctors and ambulance staff all based here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Steve. Now, Georgie, this looks like a field hospital. If we walk inside, tell us a little bit more about what you've built here.
So we've got this large marquee, as you can see. Inside, don't mind.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep looking at Rob.
Inside, we've kind of divided into cubicles, so we've got different areas to see people. So the first thing you come to is a waiting area, which is just inside the door here.
Yeah.
And then people that just bring themselves here get asked questions about what their problem is, and then we decide which professional is best to see them. And then they today, when it's been quite busy, they get given a kind of a little card to say where they are in the queue, and then they get seen in order of attendance.
So it's like a full proper hospital.
Yeah, pretty much.
So why the scale? Why go to this much effort? Can we not just send people down the road to the proper hospital?
Well, part of the idea is to try and relieve any pressures from the NHS. So obviously it's a very big event. We've got a lot of people here. We can't just send everyone down the road because that will cause a lot of problems with the NHS locally. So we're trying to treat everything as much as we can here, and only send things to the hospital when we actually have to.
And have you been anywhere near capacity yet?
In the sort of the therapy end, we were pretty tight today, but that's because we're down a staff member. The medical end hasn't been too bad so far, but I think you're about to see a little bit of action right now.
Okay, so we go inside here. Oh, there's an actual paramedic pulling up just behind us here, Rob. We'll let them.
Try not to film the patient.
We won't film the patient. We'll just disappear inside the tent then and just go and see what's going on in here. You see our waiting area here, the triage tents, and then if you come down here, we've got this area here is our major injury area, and waiting for us here is Victoria Higgins with our update for the women's division. Victoria, what's been going on in the women's division today?
So first of all, we just had some crossover games with the 1 seed. The US pretty soundly defeated Colombia 15-6, and then Japan and Canada played a very close game that Japan ended up coming on top of. In the pre-quarters, Australia ended up beating Finland. They were a little close for a while, but they kind of ran away with it at the end, and they'll play Japan in the quarters. Russia beat France pretty badly, and they will play Japan in the quarters. Canada in the quarters, and then Germany made very short work of New Zealand. They're going to play Colombia in the quarters, and I expect that to be one of the closest and most interesting games, so I would definitely tune into that one. And as well, Sweden and Switzerland played each other, and that was also an extremely tight game, but Switzerland ended up coming out on top, and they will unfortunately have to play the USA. I think Switzerland definitely can't play the way they did against Sweden because the US are going to convert those turns into points.
Now, big confusion in Pool C today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right, so Great Britain almost snuck into the pre-quarters by having an upset against Switzerland today, but they just missed out on it by point differentials by 2 points. So if they had scored one more point on Switzerland, meaning there would have been 2 less points for Switzerland, then they would have snuck into the pre-quarters.
Oh, a big mess down there for the Great Britain women. I hope the knee gets better, Victoria. Really sad to see so many of our reporters coming down with major trauma. And over here we've got Sean Colfer for telling us about the mixed division. Sean, injured, but tell us about the division.
So yesterday there was chaos in Pool J, but it was resolved in a pretty boring way today, to be honest. Canada beat the Philippines 15-11, took the top seed in the pool, top seed overall in the mixed division. That sent the Philippines into second place. They'll play Poland in the game to get into the quarterfinals. Poland, who stacked their team to get ready for World Games. Then GB beat Japan 15-13. So the top four seeds, play each other. So it's going to be Canada, GB, and USA, Australia playing each other. So it should be some pretty interesting games going on in the mixed division, I think.
And what was what's happening with those particular games right now?
Well, actually, those games are going on as we speak. I believe Great Britain versus Canada is being streamed on the live stream, but for all the other games, then tune into the show game, and we'll keep you updated.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah, I'm going to be running away from this straight away to go and cover that Great Britain versus Canada mixed division game. Ravi, tell us about the open division.
Yeah, so we're on to quarterfinals, so we got 4 games left there. The USA will be taking on Colombia, who took out Switzerland in pre-quarters. Canada will be taking on Germany. Canada beat the Czechs in pre-quarters. We've got GB taking on Australia, who beat Ireland in pre-quarters, and Japan taking on Belgium, who beat Austria in pre-quarters.
Thank you very much, Ravi. And what's going to be the best game for tomorrow?
The best game for tomorrow, I think, is going to be GB versus Australia. I think those two teams are super strong, and that'll be the closest quarterfinal that we're going to see tomorrow.
Our correspondents from the show game, keeping you updated with all the news. And thank you very much to all our medical team down here from the field hospital. Until tomorrow, Tom Stiles wrapping up today's Daily Digest.